What's up, everyone? I was going to start a little later, but there's a lot going on already. So hopefully you're doing well. We are going to catch up a little bit on some of the Nevada results so far. So basically what I'm going to try to do today is more of a casual stream that we're just viewing the results as they come in. Try to make sure everybody stays on top of it. We'll try to check in with Andrew Yang broadcasting too, because he is broadcasting right now. So there's only 3% reporting from Nevada. So with only 3% reporting, Bernie Sanders is kind of crushing it. So we have Bernie Sanders in first place, Joe Biden in second place, which I think that helps Joe, because I don't think he would have kept going if he didn't get, top 2 or 3, probably top 2. Elizabeth Warren, Mayor Pete just passed Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer was actually in fourth place, but Mayor Pete just leapfrogged him. And the Navy Klobuchar is not even on the top list, which I'm fine with. So if you're wondering where's Mike Bloomberg, Bloomberg's not even on the ballot in Nevada, which it's kind of weird that they had him go on the debate stage if he's not even on the ballot. So, I don't really understand that, because it didn't really help him at all. He's also not on South Carolina. So I think his first election day is Super Tuesday. So he's kind of put all his marbles into Super Tuesday. And yeah, so I'm going to peek over to the CNN live stream. It's on a commercial right now. So I have the CNN live stream in my peripheral. So if and when Andrew Yang comes on, I'll throw it over there. All right. Again, today's, going through a lot of the Nevada results. Again, it looks like it's only 3%. So, this will change, but I don't think Bernie will lose the lead. A lot of people were talking about yesterday that there was a story that came out that Russia's trying to help Bernie. If you saw that story, I could try to find the story just so we could review that a little bit, because I have my own opinion. Everybody has their opinion on it, but I really think it's just meddling, honestly. So let's see. Google. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Again, it is election day in Nevada. The way Nevada does it, they have early voting before election day. So the early voting before election day is just regular voting. So you go in, you place your vote, and then you leave. It's not the caucuses. The other thing I saw that was interesting in Nevada, it looks like they have a version of ranked choice voting for the early voting, where you have a list of candidates, and then you can mark like, okay, I want this person first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So their early voting has a version of ranked choice voting, but on actual election day, it is caucuses, which is interesting. So going back to one of the things that came out yesterday, I'm pulling it up for you. Again, I'm just trying to, I'll try to catch everybody up on, what's going on if you haven't seen it. So Bernie Sanders briefed by U.S. officials that Russia is trying to help his presidential campaign. That's basically the headline that was yesterday. It was all over the place yesterday. Personally, so here's a couple things. This story makes it seem like he was briefed on it recently. It was actually like a month or so ago that he got some kind of briefing regarding Russia. The fact that this story was put out to the press the day before the Nevada election, to me, it seems coordinated, like either by Trump's campaign to try to slow Bernie down, or by the DNC to slow him down and get an establishment person in, because this is what they're trying to slow down. Again, I'm an Andrew Yang supporter. Again, he dropped out, so I feel like out of this whole list, Bernie is probably the best choice. But Yang Gang is very split up. very, very split up. Yang Gang has a very diverse background in terms of political backgrounds, and we all have our own opinion. But me personally, I think Bernie get in there, ruffle some feathers. I don't think he'll go 2 terms, and then in 2024, Andrew Yang will be able to get back in there because I really, really, really don't see Bernie going for a second term. So again, the context for this, I think this was released the day before the Nevada caucuses. It was coordinated that way. I don't really see any value to it. I think it's just noise put out to us, unfortunately, because people are trying to slow this down. 54.7%. I mean, again, only 3% is reporting right now, but it's substantial. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to click back and forth between the CNN live feed and go back and forth that way. So Van Jones is on right now talking. So let me just click over just to give you a peek.
He's beating them on their own turf. Also, if you're Donald Trump looking at Sanders, wide appeal among non-college educated men, that's also, I would think, something that the Trump campaign.
Non-college educated white men are historically the white.
I'm going to refresh that because the audio was a little bit delayed. So how's everybody doing? Feel free to comment. Again, it's just going to be a long form kind of thing today. Just trying to get what we can covered out of Nevada. Andrew Yang is commentating on CNN. So if you're able to see that, please check that out because he is live on the panel right now. He's not talking right now, which I'm watching, but he is there. So he is there, present, participating. Again, Sanders has a huge lead right now in Nevada. I think the next election day is South Carolina. Let me try to pull up the exact election days so we can be educated while we're talking about this and not just trying to go off the top of my head. Let's do that. We'll do that. So 2020, I don't think Bernie hasn't lost an election yet. So I think Bernie will fairly easily get the nomination. I don't think there's any, I don't think it'll get to a brokered convention. I don't think it's going to be split that way. He hasn't lost so far. And I don't think, he might lose a couple states here and there, but I don't think that it's going to be anybody else from Bernie, which I'm fine with. I like Bernie. Again, I preferred Yang, but Yang's young. Bernie can get in there and make some changes and then go from there. So, all right, CNN, checking back in with CNN. Let me refresh that. All right, let's peek over to CNN for a minute.
And politics is incestuous enough such that everyone on every team knows someone on someone else's team. So if I looked at my team and was like, hey, I want to talk to, Biden's team, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know his XXX is chief of staff, right, this and that. So the question is whether the staffers on different campaigns are having these conversations. And then after it reaches a certain level, then it graduates up to the candidates typically.
And what would the conversations be? I guess that's my question at this point.
So you do have teams talk to each other, and then occasionally someone would say to me hey, FYI, Joe wants to call you. And I'm like, sure. And then you schedule that call and then you have that convo. So I have a feeling that the campaign to campaign communications are already happening. And the question, which is candidates.
Do you think they coordinated in advance on the kneecapping of Bloomberg, or do you think that was just spontaneous?
I think that was organic and spontaneous. And I think we may see some more of that on Tuesday.
The one thing I would say about Nevada is that this is one state, right? This is the first of the more diverse states, but it's also the result that relies on a very tiny fraction of voters. The pool of people that we're talking about is probably just over 100,000 people. It's not a lot of people. So I don't want to extrapolate too much from what we're seeing in these numbers. But I think the key.
So interesting. Andrew Yang giving a little tidbit like, hey, Joe Biden wants to talk to you. Jump on the phone. So I believe that happened for sure. So yeah, very, 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 very early in Nevada. I think only 3% is in. Let me refresh this and see if we have anything updated. So with 3% in, just refreshing this over here. New York Times likes to put up a ton of ads. 3% in. So we have 54 for Bernie Sanders, almost 18% for Biden, Elizabeth Warren, 9.7, Pete 9, Tom Steyer 7.4, Amy Klobuchar is not even on the list. Others 1.4. So others. So I think that would include Klobuchar and Tulsi. Combined 1.4. So Klobuchar, which is surprising because she actually performed fairly well at the last, the last couple elections, the last debates. She's always fairly strong. Lainey's not in here, Bubba. I don't know. Come here. Sorry, just real quick. Come here, Bubba.
What?
Come here.
What?
Oh, where's that? Who's that? Is that Jameson?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. What are we looking at? Election stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Let's test.
I can run.
You think so?
I can run.
Oh, don't touch it. All right, let's test his knowledge real quick.
It's that.
It's Jameson.
No, Daddy.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know who you're pointing to. All right, who's this?
Ying.
Who is it? Who is it?
When you ying.
Oh my gosh, Andrew Yang. How do you say that? You say it a lot better. You used to say Saucy Yang.
Sassy Yang?
No, I'm just kidding. His name's Andrew Yang. Right.
Andy Yang.
Andrew Yang. Is that silly?
I'm Andy Yang.
I know. He's everywhere, huh?
Mm.
Yep. How old are you?
3.
You're 3 and you know who Andrew Yang is?
Uh-huh.
So smart.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
One more when you yang.
One more. There's a lot, huh?
Uh-huh.
Is that silly?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's check in here. 3%.
Is it?
3%, yeah.
Oh, I moved that.
I know, I moved it. I'm sorry. I'm clicking the wrong screen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, still at 3%. So it looks like it might just be that way a while. So I will see what other kind of news. All right, Bubba's, you need to go eat lunch, okay?
Eat that.
No, it's okay. Go back in there, okay? Oh! Okay, I love you.
Open that.
No, go. Oh, you're doing Super Cat stripes? Uh-huh. Oh, big Super Cat stripes. Okay. He's a little bit of a fan of PJ Masks. All right. So he's 3.
Oh, you lock it?
Yeah, I didn't lock it. Did you lock it?
No.
Try it. Let me help him with the door real quick. Hold on. Oh, you got it. All right. So I am back. So we're just following the Nevada election results. We'll see. Let me check in on CNN real quick. I can't just have it up all the time because then you get, copyright strikes and things like that. So it's just on a commercial right now, which is fine. It's all good. So again, today is Election Day in Nevada. So Bernie Sanders hasn't lost a state yet. He won Iowa. He won New Hampshire. Looks like he's going to win Nevada, even though it's only 3% in, but holy shit. So it's a lot, which is good. I mean, I'm fine with Bernie. I mean, if Andrew Yang dropped out, again, he's young. He knows what he's doing. Moving forward, I'm fine with Bernie being in there. I think Bernie would only last one term. Not last. That's a bad way to say it. I mean, I think he would only do one term, and then from there, 2024, Yang can run again, and then we'll see. I think Bernie has enough strength to beat Trump, like I honestly do. But this election cycle is going to be crazy, so we'll see, because Donald Trump's going to use anything and everything to his power to try to win, and it's just going to be a shit show, for lack of a better word. I thought this was an interesting story because we haven't really seen this from social media. Let me see. So Twitter is suspending 70 pro-Bloomberg accounts citing platform manipulation. So, again, this is the first time I've ever seen this, where a social media will actually suspend. I mean, I'm sure they've suspended accounts, but not to the level where they're announcing it. 70 pro-Bloomberg accounts citing platform manipulation. So Twitter's working on a few things. I actually read the other day that they're working on something that actually like highlights in red when a politician says something misleading, and they'll actually have it on the tweet. So Twitter's doing their due diligence to actually be like balanced, you know what I mean, and not allow a lot of false news. But they just came out and said, hey, we suspended 70 pro-Bloomberg accounts, saying that they're trying to manipulate the platform. So I really thought that was an interesting story, and I really think he's I don't know, he's just wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he's tone deaf, and he's not going to get anywhere. Which is fine, because he's horrible. If you watch the last debate, if you haven't watched the last debate, watch the last debate. If you I'll try to see if I could find some of the clips from the last debate, because holy shit. Like, Bloomberg was torn apart, and he did not do well at all. Like, I guess, I don't know. I guess they told him he was, qualified for the debate super late, and he went ahead and decided to do it, even though his people recommended not to, which was probably the better choice, right? Like, hey, you have no preparation. You probably shouldn't do this. Like, you probably really shouldn't do this. You're not even on the ballot. That's the other thing too. You're not even on the ballot in Nevada. Like, I don't see the value at all in you going out there and just making a fool of yourself. See what I can find on the debate, and he should have taken that advice, because, frankly, he did horrible.
To talk about who we're running against, a billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
I actually welcomed Mayor Bloomberg to the stage. I thought that he shouldn't be hiding behind his TV ads. I don't think you look at Donald Trump and say, we need someone richer in the White House.
Let's put forward somebody who actually lives and works in a middle-class neighborhood, in an industrial Midwestern city. Let's put forward somebody who's actually a Democrat. Look, the one thing that I'm really worried about, embarrassed about, was how it turned out with stop and frisk. It got out of control.
And it's not whether he apologized or not, it's the policy. The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have.
I have no tolerance for the kind of behavior that the Me Too movement has exposed. In my foundation, the person that runs it's a woman. 70% of the people there are
women. In my company, lots and lots of women have big responsibilities. They get paid exactly the same as men.
And I hope you heard what his defense was. I've been nice to some women. Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
There's agreements between two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them.
We are not going to beat Donald Trump with a man who has who knows how many non-disclosure agreements and the drip, drip, drip of stories of women saying they have been harassed and discriminated against. That's not what we do as Democrats.
I believe in democratic socialism for working people, not billionaires.
What a wonderful country we have. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, house one.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, house 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much.
Yeah,
And I
well,
pay all my taxes. And I'm happy to do it because I get something for it.
And Mitch McConnell, I've been the object of his affection and the president's affection.
So you get the gist. So I don't know if for you, but I mean, anytime Bloomberg speaks, like he's just it's cringeworthy, right? Like even when he's trying to, it should be something that you don't cringe at, but he's just I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like he just gives you that feeling like you don't trust you at all, which is one of his biggest flaws in his campaign because, his advertisements or everything are some of them are well done. And then they get to him opening his mouth and it just collapsed. So if you can't tell, I'm not a Bloomberg fan, just not, I'm not going there because if we get to the point where we have another billionaire running against Trump, it's setting the precedent that moving forward, the only way you could run for president and win is if you're a billionaire. That's all it's saying. Right. So, besides all the character flaws that Bloomberg has, I really, really, really don't think that it's a good idea having another billionaire go up against Donald Trump for president. Like, I really don't. Some people I've heard, I don't know how valid this is. Some people are saying that Andrew Yang potentially should run for president. Like, if Bloomberg got the nomination, Andrew Yang should run as an independent to give people a better option. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that would play well. But again, that's just something people have said, which again, if you have Bloomberg and Trump, a third option probably would be a good idea, but I don't know if that would just split the Democratic vote and give Trump the easier path to re-election. So that's my main reason for not really supporting that is just because it could backfire and pretty much kill Andrew Yang's political career. So I'm not there. So, a couple things. So let me try to find it on Twitter. So there's a couple things come up. There is, if you're in LA, there is a Yang Gang hang tonight, which by the way, like just the fact that Yang rhymes with so many things makes the catchphrases really roll off the tongue. I mean, come on, Yang Gang and then Yang Gang hang. That's pretty sweet. There is one tonight in La Brea. I'm trying to find it. I'm going to pull up the info for it. So if you're an Andrew Yang supporter, or if you just want to come hang, like if you want to just come hang out, we'll be in La Brea tonight from I think 8 o'clock to midnight. I should be able to make it down. There is a storm right now, which I have to get down to the Cajon Pass to get down to LA. So if there's any signs of snow, I can't make it down there, which is fine. But I should be able to make it down there. So I'm going to try to get the info for that. We also have a fundraiser. So I will get you the information on that too. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Nothing's changed with the results. It's still at 9% for Nevada, and CNN's on a commercial break, so we're not missing anything there. So let me try to pull up. again, if you're in LA, if you're in and around LA, there is a Yang Gang hang tonight in La Brea. There it is. Let me just zoom this in here so y'all can see it. All right, SoCal Yang Gang. If you want to meet a Yang Gang hero, Yang Vets, Heidi with Yang Vets Saturday night, get over to 6th and La Brea Brewery, 8 p.m. to close. So if you're in LA, have any interest in this, come out. Weather permitting, I will be there. So you can meet me. We can hang out. We can do whatever we want. So tonight, 6th and La Brea Brewery, 8 p.m. Yang Gang hang in LA. So Heidi with Yang Vets will be there. I should be there. I know there's quite a few other people that will be there. So if you're interested, just come hang out there. Let me try to find the other thing that I was talking about. So again, Nevada election day, we're monitoring the results as they come in. Right now it's been at 3% for a little bit, ever since I pretty much started streaming. So haven't really gotten any other results. Hasn't been that riveting. So I'm trying to, make it more interesting. So I found what this was. So this is put on by Sahar. So Sahar, thank you very much for doing this. So I'm hosting an income movement event, Yang Gang party for congressional candidates David Kim and James Ellers in downtown LA on February 29th. So this is actually pinned to my Twitter profile. So my Twitter is @Ellers. You can find this. Again, this is February 29th. It's free to get in. Again, if you want to donate, much appreciated, but you don't have to get in. So again, if you're in or around LA, or you just want to, you want to travel over to LA for this is February 29th. Our election here is March 3rd. So it's a few days before the election. Again, this is pinned on my Twitter @Ellers. And I am running for Congress. I don't know if I mentioned that in this stream, but I am running for Congress in California's 8th district. I am an Andrew Yang supporter. I am a basic income supporter. I am a supporter of freedom dividend, democracy dollars, ranked choice voting, like the whole shebang. Also a supporter of Medicare for all, because I think that's really, really needed right now. And it's doable because we are spending way too much money on healthcare. We're spending, I think, more healthcare than any other developed country, and we have the worst coverage for as much money as we're spending on it. So this is a little more about that event. So if you click on the link in the Twitter feed, again, it's pinned on my Twitter profile @Ellers. This is the actual event page for it. So you can actually RSVP on the side here. Gives you directions. So again, this is one of those day of actions through the income movement. So again, thank you, Sahar, for putting this on for us. February 29th, Yang Gang primary party meet and greet. David Kim will be there. I will also be there. It is February 29th, 21 and over. It's free to get in, 7 to 10 p.m. So again, if you're in the area, even if you're not, come hang out February 29th in LA. This is the actual event page. So it is linked on my Twitter profile. It's pinned there. So yeah, that's February 29th. So if you want to check that out. All right. So we got Yang Gang hang tonight. It is also 21 and over. It's at a brewery. So I think, if you're under 21, I'm sorry, but next time. Let me see if we have any more caucus results. And it's still fairly early, so I might have to break up the stream into a couple different things, just because do one now and do one later when we have more of the results. Because right now it's still at 3%, and I'm not really seeing any changes there. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Let me refresh CNN real quick, just so it's not laggy. Again, Bernie has a substantial lead on everybody else. So let's check in. Let me check in the audio of CNN.
Blaming the media for this this, blaming the Washington Post, trying to sort of say who the sources were and why this came out the day before the primary, and then as if the Washington Post, if it had this story, should not have reported it or should have.
I think the question of timing is a good one, but it's not about the Washington Post. It's about who.
It's about the story.
It's news.
Right.
It's genuinely newsworthy.
Of course. Ultimately, that's what's going to be problematic for Bernie Sanders as we discuss this further, is that for a lot of Democrats, what this episode has really shown is that Sanders has some instincts that they're uncomfortable with. This idea of pivoting to blaming the Washington Post has really set some people off, and it's really alarmed some Democrats who, frankly, are already uncomfortable with Bernie Sanders into thinking, yes, he's right about the Russian interference part, but there are other elements of this that they're not comfortable with. Pivoting and saying that the Washington Post is trying to harm them because of who owns the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, which is literally exactly what Donald Trump says. That's a real problem for him and how he handles the post.
Yeah, and I think that I would offer the perspective of this, which is that I'm a relatively new person here at CNN. There are not a ton of people that are my age or that look like me. Most of the people that sit in a lot of the most powerful rooms in the country, pushing forward our news, are are not the same sort of level of class, or are a lot less wealthy than the folks that are sitting there. So I think that even though it might not be, literally some person pulling the strings there is a worldview that is vastly different from the everyday voter to who are DC pundits and folks that are in the newsroom. And I think that's where a lot of everyday Americans.
What Bernie Sanders was saying. That's the question. Is he saying that Jeff Bezos was somehow behind this?
Anything to do with the underlying issue?
It's a nuanced conversation.
It's not trying to sow discord of the U.S. election.
We're learning more about log jams in reporting caucus results of the Nevada Democratic Party. Officials are getting busy signals, apparently, as they try to phone in votes. We're going to have more details on that ahead.
Oh my God. If you didn't catch that last part, Anderson Cooper just said, hey, we're getting reports of log jams in reporting of the Iowa caucus results. So I might be reading too much into it. Possibly, maybe. It has happened before. But look at Iowa. If you look at Iowa, so here's what I want to do. I want to take a good hard look at this, have it up on the screen. It is 3:30 Pacific time on Saturday, February 22nd. This is the Nevada caucuses. So if you remember correctly, we had numbers out on the caucus day in Iowa, right? And then they pulled them all back and said, oops, we don't have accurate numbers. We have to redo something. So right now, it's been stuck at 3% for a while. It was stuck at 3% before I started streaming. I've been streaming for 33 minutes. So Anderson Cooper just came on and said, hey, we're getting reports of a logjam in the reporting of the Iowa caucus results. So hopefully it's not anything similar to Iowa. Again, these numbers here, like, we need to take a good look at it and remember, okay, so we have Bernie, Biden, Warren, Pete, Steyer. That's the order right now, and it's everybody's, fairly spread out. It's not too close. So what I want to make sure to notate is how it is now versus whatever happens with this quote-unquote logjam. Because keep in mind that Mayor Pete's former staffer is working on with the Nevada elections as like a quality control person. So I want to hear what Anderson Cooper has to say about it, unless he was just teasing before commercial, which, he might have been. So good job, Anderson, because you got me. But if there's any validity to it, that's going to be really interesting, because there haven't been any new developments since we've been streaming, which is like 35 minutes. Also, let me take you a peek over here. For some reason, over here, that little tiny screen next to the commercial, that is Amy Klobuchar's headquarters. Again, could be reading too much into it, but what kind of statement would Amy Klobuchar be having this early? Oh, maybe not. They switched to Biden's. Again, I'm reading too much into stuff. I'm just like, I want more info. Oh, there's 3 comments. What's up? Let me see. I think the Democrats' best chance is Bernie, but anyone else, it will be a landslide. Tune in from Toronto. I agree. Politically exhausted is a very, very good word. And that's something where, surprise, surprise. I know with the bottleneck, I'm keeping my eye when they come back because I want to tune back to it to see what the hell kind of bottleneck they're talking about in the Nevada caucuses. See, I went straight to Iowa caucuses because I'm having flashbacks. So I want to see, but yes, Ward, politically exhausted. I agree. And okay, they're back. Let me get the audio.
Any moment, I want to check with Diane Gallagher, who is at Democratic Party headquarters in Las Vegas. What are you hearing about problems that some are having getting through to give vote results?
Yeah, Anderson, we've heard from several precinct captains at this point who said that they have had difficulty getting through those hotlines to report those results or getting a busy signal. One of those precinct chairs, Chris Furby at the West Career Tech Academy site, says that he actually was texted a different phone number to call by his site lead. When he called that, he got a recording that basically said, you've reached the Nevada Democratic Party. Your hold time is more than 30 minutes. Furby tells me that he's going to call back later, but he's already done the redundancy here, and this is what we're seeing happen. He has texted in a picture of that math worksheet, and he plans to help drive those materials over to the party so they can have them officially. And even though we are getting reports of these busy hotlines, the redundancy, that backup plan of texting the photo to the party seems to be working in each case of these precinct chairs who are getting this busy hotline. So that built-in backup plan, again, appearing to be working, at least in the cases we have talked to at this point, Anderson. The party says that they are working diligently to make sure that as the caucus is closed, everything is relayed to them in a timely manner, but they do acknowledge they're getting those backup texts as a result.
And do we have any sense of how widespread? I mean, I think you said you talked to a couple of people.
We've actually talked to several of them, and even several who, Anderson, have had different times of reporting. So maybe who finished up far before some of the other ones. So this appears to be something that is spread out. Again, Chris Irby getting texted that different phone number to call in. He had tried calling this, but of almost every precinct chair that we had been in touch with has dealt with the busy signal at least once. And so some of them were able to get through and report. Others went ahead, did what they were told to do, which is text that picture in and then try back on the phone afterward.
Dan Gallagher, we'll continue checking with you at Democratic Party headquarters in Las Vegas. Back now with the panel. Does this sound serious to you, Lori?
I don't know. Compared to Iowa,
Iowa, 30-minute wait time.
Compared to not so much compared to Iowa. So it's hard to judge at this point. I was just looking at our numbers up there on the screen, and I think maybe we ought to talk about Tom Steyer, though. How about that? He spent a lot of money in Nevada, and if you look at Tom Steyer spending a lot of money, it hasn't gotten him a lot of love. Money didn't buy him love. And the question that I had then is what happens, for Mike Bloomberg, for example. Can Mike Bloomberg take a lesson from this? But, I don't know where Steyer's going to end up or whether he's going to end up out after this. And maybe, Andrew, you could talk about that. But he has been spending a lot of money in South Carolina, and he spent a bunch of money in Nevada.
Yeah, the thing to look out for is whether Tom gets a qualifying poll tomorrow in South Carolina.
Yep.
If he doesn't, he'll be on the debate stage the following day. And South Carolina is his strongest state. If he doesn't get a poll, then he won't be on the debate stage. And that's going to be a source of great frustration for him and his campaign because they've been putting a lot of resources into South Carolina particularly.
A lot of people kind of think of Tom as the guy who, Mr. Impeachment early on, that kind of stuff. He hasn't.
All right. So the gist of it is they're having issues with reporting the Iowa caucus results. So they were in their precinct captain training, they were given one set of instructions. Hey, call this number, report what you need, and this is the backup. From what they're saying is that somewhere today someone gave them a second number saying, hey, don't call this number that you were told, call this other number. And it's just a voicemail. So it's fishy. Sounds fishy. Voter turnout. That's a great question. I would like to know what the voter turnout is too. So let me see if any of the results. I mean, it looked like CNN had 10% in. Oh, New York Times is still at 3%. Let me see if I can get. I keep saying Iowa. It's not Iowa. It's Nevada. New York Times is a little delayed. Google still says 3%. So where was CNN getting it? CNN. Because they were showing 10%. Let's see. Let me peek back into the stream. The stream of CNN is on a commercial break. Just to keep you in the loop. All right. CNN. So we're trying to find the updated caucus results because most of the places are saying 3%, but CNN on their live stream just said 10. So seeing this doesn't make any sense. And CNN's website says 1%. So there needs to be, I don't understand why there's not a central, government run place to find results and news on elections, not these places that may or may not be correct. You know what I mean? It's just so mixed up. Letty. Hello, James. So, as you may know, Bernie is in Texas trying to capture the Hispanic votes. No Bernie or any other candidates for me. I plan to write in Andrew Yang. Yeah, I'm voting for Yang in the primary. And then in the general, I will vote for whoever's against Donald Trump. But I think for the primary is the time to make our voices heard. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm voting for Andrew Yang in the primary. And then from there, we'll figure out the general. But I personally, I've spent too much time, and I'm really invested in Andrew Yang. Not really. I mean, not just monetarily, just emotionally. Just I really believe that we're going to achieve this in the long run. I mean, where's this? A knock for the Yang gang. You know what I mean? So I'm voting for Andrew Yang in the primary. And then in the general, whoever's against Donald Trump. Again, that gets a little complicated when you look at honestly, I don't think Bloomberg's going to do much. Just like they said, based on what Steyer's doing, and Steyer's been doing the same thing, just throwing money at it. He's not really getting anywhere. So what is the game plan for Bloomberg? Because I really don't think his money's going to get him as far as he thinks. I really, really don't. So based on right now, I think it's Bernie. I like Bernie. I'm completely fine with that. If it's not going to be Andrew Yang, it should be someone that's going to get in there and ruffle some feathers. He's not going to be on the side of billionaires. He's not going to be on the side of corporations. You know what I mean? He's going to be, his thing is the working person, which it's about halfway to humanity first, right? And I like Bernie. I'm fine. Obviously I would have preferred Andrew Yang, but Andrew Yang's young, and I'm doing the same thing in the primary. I am voting for Andrew Yang, and then from there I will vote for whoever's against Donald Trump. Yeah, I can't see any other results. So everything's still saying 3%. So I don't know where CNN on their TV was saying 10%. But if you noticed, the 10% numbers were kind of jumbled. So again, if you're just tuning in, just give you a little bit of an update. Anderson Cooper came on with one of his reporters, was just like, hey, we were getting reports of a bit of a logjam in the reporting for the numbers for the Nevada caucuses. This is why, we're not getting a lot of the numbers, just because there's some bottleneck that isn't getting through. So let me jump over here.
Tonight, Sanders is facing fallout for a tweet he said that is apparently alienating some fellow Democrats. It reads,
all right. I've got news for the Republican establishment. I got news for the Democratic establishment. You can't stop us. I don't have any problem with that.
Making Wall Street nervous, Big Pharma nervous.
I'm just going to tune in and give you the audio for a little bit.
What was it, 16, 17,000 people? And he said, and we're making Democratic establishment nervous. And he is. And by the way, he is. And he is. And he's saying it proudly. It's not, and I think the thing is, look, in 2016, there was a rebellion in both parties. And the Republican Party took the form of Donald Trump. The Democratic Party took the form of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, who was written off as sort of like Dennis Kucinich, redo, got 47% of our vote in 2016. You can't forget that. And so people thought, well, now Hillary can go on and become president. She didn't, and Bernie never stopped. I was in San Francisco like 3 years ago, and Bernie was there talking about Medicare for all with 8,000 people, and it wasn't even making the news. So the rebellion never stopped, and I think that's what you're seeing. And why is it? I think you made a very good point. There is a lot of pain at the bottom of our party. There's a lot of pain in this country that doesn't get talked about enough. And he speaks to that over and over and over again. And I think that there's a power that comes with being witnessed, being recognized in your pain and in your suffering, and to feel like somebody's consistent about that. So listen, he's not wrong. The establishment is upset. And there's another station, another channel, there's other things going on tonight where people are freaking out, melting down all across the country, at least all over the airways, and it's real. But it's also not just witnessing the pain; it's actually being willing to step into somebody else's pain, which a lot of other politicians just sort of give a glancing, reference to it. But this is a consistent refrain from Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's something he has been consistently talking about for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in aside from Donald Trump being the president of the United States right now, we are facing a number of existential crises. Yeah. You have 50% plus of the American people who are making less than $40,000 a year experiencing a level of inequality that we've never seen. You have not just millions of young people like myself, but their parents that are locked into crushing student debt. You have rent skyrocketing, healthcare costs going through the roof. And over the past decade, wages not really seeing any real growth for workers. So that is a base of people out there that are Republican, Democrat, independent. They don't fall cleanly in this ideological spectrum.
Reporter sitting across from Andrew Yang taking all his talking points. Damn. Yeah. So there's a logjam in reporting the results for the Nevada caucuses. CNN, they have some of the results. They're saying 10%. So they're saying they're not giving percentages, but it looks like Buttigieg leapfrog Warren. Klobuchar came up a little bit, but I'm just wary of Mayor Pete just because of the BS in Iowa, and that his former campaign staff member is like the quality control person of the Nevada caucuses. Like it's not manufactured. That's not an issue. That's just like I made up. You know what I mean? Like that's a legitimate issue. And I'll see if I can find what exactly I'm talking about. But Bernie still has a commanding lead. And we'll see what is going to happen with that reporting logjam, because it just sounds so inefficient, right? Like you have caucuses. First of all, the idea of caucuses. So if you don't know, basically everybody shows up to their assigned place. You go in different corners for whichever candidate you support. and there's different rounds. If your candidate doesn't have, a certain percentage, then you have to go to a different corner, and it could take hours. So that whole process is dumb. And then they take the results and you have to call them in. There's not, obviously in Iowa, they tried a reporting app, that shadow app that got a lot of controversy. Also, they couldn't even figure that out. So now they are literally just having to call in the numbers. And right now, what some people are saying, and this is reported by Anderson Cooper, this is not me just saying stuff, that some of the precinct captains in the caucuses are saying that they were giving one number to call and report when they went through their training. And then today, someone said, no, use this number. No, that original one's not good. Use this one. And it goes straight to a voicemail. And it's causing a lot of confusion. And I'm curious, what is this other number? I want to see if we can get it. I want to see who owns that number, and I want to see who was giving out that extra phone number, because that is sketchy as hell. Like, if you have to call and report your numbers, let me check on Yang.
We have to solve these underlying economic issues that have been festering and building up in our communities for years and decades that got Donald Trump elected. And to me, the Democratic Party never really reckoned with, how the heck do you lose to Donald Trump?
Yeah.
And then you just blame everything under the sun. Like,
on the establishment, the so-called
But just
establishment.
keep in mind, Donald Trump has unified the Republican Party.
They broke it off.
He has actually brought his party
it
to
is
where
him
he
now.
is. So I just think we have to keep in mind that sometimes you and the party can start in different places, but I think what Bernie Sanders is banking on is that he is going to bring the party to where he is at the end of the day. And frankly, if you look at the results that we've seen, 60% of people saying
he's already done it. I mean,
it's already happening.
Yeah, we got to get a break, and we'll continue this discussion. We're standing by for some more votes. We're going to hear from some of the Democratic candidates live. Back in a moment.
All right, so not really much of an update there, but yeah, I completely agree with Andrew Yang. Surprise, surprise. Like, how do you not figure out, like, hey, how did we lose to Donald Trump, and how do we stop that from happening again? Ward Smith, how do you feel about the notion of a Yang movement? Can you give more context for what you mean? Because I think there already was for sure a Yang movement still continuing, and I think it's going to keep going for the next few years until he's elected. So if you have more context for what you meant, please let me know. And again, they're saying they have more results coming in, but on the online screens, it's still at 3%. So I don't know if that is an issue with what they're talking about. There's a logjam in the reporting, or if it's just they get results quicker on live TV than we get. Yang Gang excitement. How do I feel about Yang Gang excitement? Like right now? I mean, it's just starting, right? I mean, Andrew Yang, came out of nowhere, and to get the amount of support he did in that short amount of time is huge. And that was within like a 6-month time period, if that, you know what I mean? So imagine over the next 3 or 4 years, how much we're going to be able to build up over the next 3 or 4 years is going to be awesome. Letty, hey James, if I may ask, what is your experience or background in the political arena? I'm not politically savvy, but when I heard Andrew Yang discuss issues of Americans losing jobs to automation, So I don't have experience in political arena. In the political arena, I am just a normal guy that, I've followed political things in the past, and I've always been around election time, especially been passionate about it, but never to the point like, hey, I need to do something more other than just vote and participate. So again, Andrew Yang really inspired me. Like, I was following him, super excited. And then I learned that the congressman in my area where I live, the district that I live, isn't running again. So, and I looked at the other candidates and I wasn't very excited. So I decided I need to run. So I have no political experience, but I'm on the ballot in California, 8th district, to run for Congress. And I'm super excited, to Ward's point about supporting Andrew Yang. So I think there's a Yang movement. There's a lot of Yang gang excitement. Obviously, with him not on the ballot, or not on the ballot, but him withdrawn, it's a little tougher. But again, this is the first round. You know what I mean? Like it's similar to my campaign. Like you need to get in there, learn it, get your feet wet, get that experience, and then if for whatever reason you don't win, you take all that experience and put it towards the future. So similar to my campaign. So my campaign, just a little background. I'm completely grassroots. I'm going up against a couple people that have raised over $500,000, but I think we have a chance. But again, there's no like local polling, so I don't know. I don't know where I'm at, which is talk about who said. Where was the comment? All right, someone said they were just okay. There it is. Feeling politically exhausted. So you take everything we're looking at for the presidential debate, and then add in my own life, my own local campaign. It's interesting. So I'm going to sleep very well in a couple weeks. Thank you, Letty. So we'll see after March 3rd. Whatever happens, I'll be a lot less stressed. If I win, if I get in the top two, I move on to the general. So I'll run in November, and then if I don't go through, then we'll see what else we're working on. So I wanted to keep making sure that we keep the momentum going. That's one reason for building out this channel, is to make sure to keep the momentum going in the right direction, right? So if you haven't yet, please subscribe on YouTube. It's at James Ellers. I'm trying to build out YouTube. I'll be doing these. I'm trying to do something every day. On Twitter, if you don't follow me yet on Twitter, my Twitter's at Ellers. And then at the bottom, you see this scrolling. That's my donation website. If you want to donate to my campaign, much appreciated. As you can imagine, campaigns are a little expensive, which it shouldn't be that way. It should absolutely be built out so that anybody can run for office and not have to go bankrupt doing it. But where we're at, that's just where we're at. So I'm going to check back into CNN, get some audio for you guys, all right?
Voting. Once it is determined who's viable, who's not. And then take a look at this third column. We are able to see here, Wolf, who is gaining votes between that first round and final round, and who is losing votes. Who's better organized? They're there, they're viable, and they bring people to increase their numbers between the two rounds. Right now, take a look at Bernie Sanders. He is atop the field here, as you noticed. His first round number was 5,132. His final round, as you just noted, 6,048. He gained 916 votes between the two rounds of voting. Let's look at Joe Biden. 2,496 in the first round, 2,707 in the final round. He gained 211. You have Pete Buttigieg here. Hang on, sorry. I don't know why. Pete Buttigieg, 2,302 in the first round, 2,449 in the final round. He gained 147. So Buttigieg, Biden, and Sanders are the ones that gained. They were viable and they brought more people in, okay? Now let's look at the other side of the ledger. Elizabeth Warren there at the bottom. She went from 1921 to 1575. She lost 346. On this side, you see Amy Klobuchar. She went from 1449 to 1068. She lost 381 votes. Well, this is largely because she wasn't viable in a lot of places. She wasn't hitting that 15% threshold. And Tom Steyer, that happened to him more than anyone. He started in the first round with 1,331 votes. In the final round of voting, again, this is only 10% of the precincts reporting. We have a lot of vote counting to do. But at this snapshot in time, in the final round, Steyer's at 627. He lost 704 votes between the two rounds. He's losing the most. He's not viable in a lot of these places.
All right, we're about to get some more numbers, we're told. We'll check in on the campaigns as well as they wait for more results. So we'll also get an update on the lag in reporting some votes. Are the phone lines still jammed? We'll find out just ahead.
When did I mute my mic? When did I do that? I'm sorry. Hopefully I didn't mute it before that. But so the story in Nevada, are the phone lines still jammed? So after Iowa, after that cluster F in Iowa, they come back and Nevada is also caucus and they don't prepare very well for that. What did your wife think about your new political endeavor? She's very supportive. She's very supportive in anything I do, so I appreciate that. So yeah, it's good. Full-time job for you. Yeah, I actually, I'm doing the campaign like full-time right now. So the income thing's a little tricky. I had like I help people install solar on their homes and businesses. I do that. I have my own business doing that. And then I also had another side job to just kind of help out. I left the side job and I've scaled back the solar business as much as possible so I can try to campaign. So that's where I am right now. Any support would be appreciated. Share the videos, anything, just because moving forward, I'm going to have to try to figure out the income thing. Caucus is sort of exercise and ranked choice, but mostly fine, whatever. Let's just get out of here. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. The caucus thing is interesting because if your candidate isn't viable in the first round, you get nothing. So not viable meaning if you don't have 15% of the total vote out of that building, your people have to leave. They have to leave your corner and go to a different corner. So you can have so let's Andrew Yang in Iowa. Overall, he actually got 8% of the votes, or 8% of the people supported him. But in the precincts that he didn't have that 15% or higher, they had to go and leave and go support someone else. So that's why when you see that Andrew Yang only got 1 or 2% in Iowa, officially Andrew Yang only got 1 or 2% in Iowa, but in terms of the actual people that came out and supported him, it was more like 8%, which is misleading. Canadian, it's all good. It's all good. You can help by subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm not saying, hey, support me monetarily. Just like, subscribe, share content, things like that is much appreciated. I don't need so again, my YouTube is at James Ellers. Twitter at Ellers. We are waiting for CNN to get back. It looks like they might have some live coverage from some of the campaigns. So it looks like they have like Biden might be speaking, which I'm keeping an eye on. And then I think they were showing Klobuchar's office too. So we'll see what happens there. So just waiting. I haven't seen any results come in. Again, there is a logjam in the reporting for Nevada. Surprise, surprise. Any site that I check still has 3%. So if you see anything that has more than 3% reporting, let me know. But as of right now, I'm only seeing 3% of the numbers coming in. CNN Live had more. I don't know where they had more, like how they did, because even on their own website, they're only showing like 1%. So I don't know where the disconnect is in terms of reporting. But similar to Iowa, they are having problems with reporting the results. Again, I don't know how you don't prepare for that after seeing what happened in Iowa. Okay, so CNN website looks like they have the 10%. Where did it go? Well, I had it. There it is. Sorry. Get that for y'all. All right, so 10% in right now. So let me just compare a little bit. So this is 3%. So Bernie, Joe, Liz, Pete, Tom. Bernie, Joe, Liz, Pete, Tom. 10% in. Bernie, Joe, Pete, Liz. So Pete leapfrogged Warren somehow. Okay, what percent is this? See, this is what I don't get. The screen I was just on had 10%, and then I click through, and now it's only showing 5%. Like, stay consistent. News places. This is why people get frustrated with the news, because it is just all over the place. All right, so this says 10%, so we'll just stay here. So Bernie still has a really good lead. Pete is closing the gap with Biden, which, again, is frustrating because he had like half of what Biden had here, and now he's almost caught up. It's kind of weird. I really don't trust Pete at all. So anytime I see something happening that seems irregular with Pete, I call it out because I don't trust him at all. So let me see. So Bernie Sanders in Nevada, not Nevada. That's a Texas sign. San Antonio. Okay. I need to update their thing. So Bernie's going to speak in San Antonio, looks like. So he's not even in Nevada. He's playing it smart. Let's see. Letty, what is your thought on the UBI bill that was submitted for California? Definitely the right move. So Evan Lowe, California State Assemblyman, introduced that bill in California. It's a basic income bill. Also, it has a lot of things where it doesn't stack with a lot of other things, services, which is fine. But it's a step in the right direction for sure, and I definitely support that. I thank Evan Lowe for putting that out. And if you check out the Stanford Basic Income Lab, they actually have a guide for like, hey, if you want to have UBI implemented on a state or local level, like this is how you can possibly do that. So thank you for that comment, Letty. So let's just check in here for a minute.
In for him in the state, and if this trajectory continues, this could be a good night for Joe Biden based on those metrics. The week here courting black voters here, and he's doing quite well with black voters in the state. Now, pretty soon after this, the campaign will be turning to South Carolina, which is going to be a firewall for Joe Biden. But for the moment, they are focused right here on Nevada, where he is hoping for a top 2 finish tonight, and he could potentially get that. Dana.
I want to go now to Kyung the senator who you're with, Amy Klobuchar, is speaking. Let's listen to what she's saying, and we'll come back to you.
So I want to, first of all, thank our great speakers today, Peggy Flanagan, our Lieutenant Governor, who we adore. She's been campaigning for me all over the country. As you know, the highest ranking American Indian elected to statewide office in the country, and we're really proud of her. Beirut, thank you. Where are you? So much for the beautiful words. Our mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, thank you. And what an honor to have David Wellstone here with us. And David has been carrying on his dad's work on mental health. I see him in Congress all the time. And I think you all know there's one reason I picked the color green for our signs and our shirts, and that is Paul Wellstone. Because as you all know, Senator Wellstone was not expected.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry. Pressing the feed. Sorry, when I move my mic around.
Nevada, although it's raining right now there, it was beautiful all week, and we had such a great time, such hospitality. We have a great team down there, still working hard. They're counting the votes. But as usual, I think we have exceeded expectations. I always note that a lot of people didn't even think that I would still be standing at this point. They didn't think I'd make it through that speech in the snow. They didn't think I'd make it to the debate floor. But time and time again, because of all of you and because of the people around this country that want something different than the guy in the White House, we have won. So I want you to know, first of all, our itinerary. We are headed, of course, to South.
Senator Amy Klobuchar, she's speaking to her supporters back in her home state of Minnesota. Not necessarily doing all that great right now based on these early numbers.
And that was kind of a classic Amy Klobuchar moment in that she came out early. She's done that in several of other contests on election nights when she knows that networks like ours are doing coverage and she can get her message out to a national audience. And boy, does she need that now. All the candidates do, because we're about to be in a very national situation with Super Tuesday. She said that they did better than expected. She's probably still talking about New Hampshire because that's not the case. It looks like, the way that the numbers in the entrance polls are looking now, that's certainly not the case in Nevada. The fact that she is home in Minnesota, which doesn't vote until Super Tuesday, until March 3rd, is very telling. Having said that, the delegate count complete up until today, she does have one more than Joe Biden, and that is saying something.
She's not doing well, but Senator Bernie Sanders, John, he's doing well so far. Very impressive.
Right. Sanders looks like he's having a very strong showing. The question is, what is the percentage? What are the delegates? We're going to have a big debate out of this about how long will the Democratic race go on, which is why what Senator Klobuchar says is actually interesting, in the sense that I don't mean to be critical or harsh on anybody. Running for president is hard. It drains you. It takes you away from your family. It beats you up. A lot of people work for you and volunteer for you. However, how many weeks in a row can you say, I got a participation trophy, therefore I'm doing great? It just doesn't work that way. You have to perform. You have to continue to get delegates. So if Amy Klobuchar comes out of Nevada tonight without delegates, she's qualified for the debate in South Carolina. She will be in the race through South Carolina. She did raise a decent amount of money, a modest amount of money, but for a candidate without a big infrastructure, enough to get on television in some Super Tuesday states. The question is how long? The question is, if you continue to be 4th, 5th, or 6th, how long can you sustain yourself? Now, this is a conversation. It's not just Senator Klobuchar is going to have. Several of the candidates are going to have this conversation of, am I going to try to stay in this race, cherry pick states, get some delegates? Because I think this is going to go on for a long time. I think no one's going to get a majority before Milwaukee. And I want to show up in Milwaukee with 50, 60, 20. What's the number of delegates? But I'll have some power. Might be little, but I'll have some power. Or do you say, wait a minute, I'm Amy Klobuchar, there's Pete Buttigieg, there's Joe Biden, there's Michael Bloomberg, maybe you put Tom Steyer in that group. Are we all going to stay in the race and allow Bernie Sanders to win with 35, 35, 28, 35, 32, 27, and let him have a march? There's going to have to be such a conversation. They're tough and they're painful. Now, again, she did surprise in New Hampshire, but she came in 3rd.
I'm not so sure that conversation is going to happen. Like to your point earlier, that would have happened in times where there is a real establishment, where there is a party apparatus where people listen. I don't know. I don't know that they will listen.
And the age we live in. It used to be, when I started doing this, if you ran and lost, you lost. People run and lose now and actually gain from it politically. They have higher stature in the Senate. They create a fundraising network. If you care about an issue, you elevate your issue. So it's not quite clear. And look, let's be fair to Senator Klobuchar. This race is very muddled right now and confusing. So you don't know. Is there a slingshot moment? Maybe. And is there another calculation? Are you raising your profile in the Senate? Are you thinking maybe you might be in position to be a vice presidential contender? That's hard for her because who would the candidate be? How would it work? But this is hard. This is where the campaign gets hard. It's only contest number 3. But again, if she raised about $2-3 million after New Hampshire, that's good for a bit. But look at the map of Super Tuesday. Again, just California alone, you can spend $3 million on TV ads in about a half an hour.
Yeah, and then there's Texas, some other really big states as well. Hold on for a moment.
Okay.
You want to make a
point? No, I just want to show you something because we were talking about where we are on the calendar just really quickly. This is February. So we're in the 3rd contest of February, right? And all told, at the end of the month, only 3.9% of the delegates are going to be awarded. But look at Super Tuesday, which is a week from Tuesday. Just on that day alone, a third of the delegates that a candidate needs to be the nominee is going to be awarded. And then just there's kind of a second Super Tuesday like day, 65%, over 65% of the delegates. So that is just the context in which we are looking at what's going forward, but also today, the importance of today. It's less about delegates and much more about momentum, fundraising, and so on.
To compete in those Super Tuesday states, you need a lot of money. And some of these candidates are beginning to run out of money. All right, much more ahead. We're waiting for more numbers to come in from Nevada. We'll be right back.
You're nervous.
So not too many updates. It seems like it's just going to be a slow process. Not only because there are caucuses and they take longer to count normally, but also because there are quote unquote log jams in the reporting process right now. So it might be a late night. My time is 4:13 p.m. Pacific time. And the best results we have in are about 10%. So it's going to be a long night. Let's see. Take that off. So it's going to be a long night, and to the point where, what do you guys think? Should I jump off and then come back on when more of the results are coming in, or that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I don't see much changing other than the fact that they're saying, hey, there are log jams. Which hopefully, let me see if there's any actual news on that. No. This is a tweet from Trump. Looks like Crazy Bernie is doing well in the great state of Nevada. Biden the rest look weak. No way Mini Mike can restart his campaign. Okay. So as of right now, Sanders 29.3%, Warren 18%, Biden 17%, Buttigieg 17%, tied with Biden for third. So Biden started strong, but it looks like he might be fading. Lucas, yeah, it'll be late because I'm guessing the delegates will come in around 9 p.m. I agree. Later, eat some food, watch a movie. Yeah, probably. If you guys haven't yet, thank you a lot for staying with me. Please subscribe and share this where you can. My YouTube handle is @JamesEllers. Twitter is @Ellers. That's what I'll do. Probably I will cut this off and then we will jump back on when there's a little more results, because right now there's not a lot going on. So I'll do that. Again, thank y'all for joining me. Subscribe, please. And I'll be back on a little bit.